Hello. Hi, Anna. Sorry I'm a few minutes late today. There was a little bit of something happening that I needed to wrap up first. So apologies. Welcome. If you've never been here before, my name is Kristin, and welcome to my channel, From Chronic Fatigue to Chronic Abundance, where I teach you how to save more of your energy from severe chronic fatigue every day so you can start living with more abundance and more positivity and more hope in your life, even while you still have symptoms. There are a few things I don't talk about. I don't give you a one-size-fits-all plan to healing your life from severe chronic fatigue because it doesn't exist. All right? Yes, there are things out there that work for some people, but they don't work for most of us. There is no one diet that's going to cure you. There is no one supplement. There is no one supplement plan that is going to cure you. Okay? Anyone I know who has healed themselves from severe chronic fatigue has done so through a couple means. One of them is by working with practitioners who treats that person as an individual, as a unique case. They look at their blood work. They look at their specific symptoms, and they craft a treatment plan to that person's blood work results and to their symptoms and to their life. And that plan evolves over time as the person's health and needs change, all right? The other thing that these people have done across the board that I know who have gotten better from this also had a moment at rock bottom where they had been going to doctor after doctor. They'd been losing hope. They'd been sick of becoming more sick. They were exhausted at how much they had to rest. They were just at their wits' end in terms of, what do I do to get over this? Nobody believes me. My life is falling apart. I can't live anymore. The doctors aren't helping. They have a fundamental shift in their mindset around their health and healing. They develop what I call the healing mindset. Now, some people are taught this and some people discover it on their own. But they all have a moment where they realize that if they want to get different results than they've gotten, they've got to be doing something different than they've already done. All right? And that something different is how we think about our illness and how we approach it, and the decisions that we make around our illness and the actions we take to get better. Every single one of these people, those have all shifted dramatically at one point or another. And that's when these people begin to heal. So what I'm teaching you here is the healing mindset. Because if you develop the healing mindset, it shapes how you feel about your health. It shapes the decisions you make about your health. It shapes who you work with. And it shapes how you feel day to day and the amount of motivation and hope that you have. And when you really fully have the healing mindset integrated, it helps give you more energy and motivation to do the first part of that healing journey, which is continue to work with doctors over time to discover the healing plan that your body needs to get better, okay? In that vein, this is my weekly Thursday Q&A. I am here to answer any and all questions that you have about living with severe chronic fatigue as a symptom. It could be because you're diagnosed with ME/CFS, or because you have Lyme's, or Hashimoto's, or fibromyalgia, or lupus, or hypothyroidism, whatever the reason for your severe chronic fatigue, or maybe you're undiagnosed. We are here to talk about what it's like to live with this symptom. And there are no questions that are too small or too big or too silly. As long as it's about living with severe chronic fatigue, we'll talk about it here, okay? So now's the time to start getting your questions ready, get them into the chat box, and we'll go through and start answering some of those questions. All right, awesome. A little update on me. It's been a couple weeks since I gave an update. Let me think about this. I didn't plan out my update in advance like I should have. Things are going pretty well. As some of you know, I am in the middle of a big hiatus where I am planning out a major career transition. I have been doing software consulting for 11 years, almost 12 years. Oh my goodness, I'm so old. I'm at a point where I don't really see much of a future in that for myself. I don't see it really going anywhere from here. I don't really see myself, I don't see a lot of room to grow and expand from here. I need to do something really differently to continue evolving my career and to get where I want to go. And there are a lot of ways I can get where I want to go. This hiatus period is about me really spending a lot of time figuring out which path I want to choose. And then what that path needs to look like to get me to where I want to go, and begin taking those steps to walk down that new path. And it's really scary. And it's definitely expensive because I quit my job to do this, and I have a certain amount of my savings dedicated to this. And the clock is ticking. And I'm very much an idea person. So I love exploring ideas. I get really wrapped up in ideas. But to make the most of this time, like, I need to balance ideas with action, with testing out these ideas and figuring out what's right for me, and saying no to a lot of things, and really holding out for that right thing to say yes to. And honestly, it's something that's not entirely new to me because of my own journey with severe illness. If you're not familiar with my personal healing journey, something that's happened is twice as an adult, because of severe chronic fatigue, I have had to leave work for varying periods of time. Actually, 3 times I had to leave work. And this amounted to me being out of work for something like 2.5 years total, over 3 separate stints of being out of work, and then having to be reintroduced to the workforce. Now, each of those times, I left work, I pretty much left just heal. And when I went back to work, I went back into the same career. It was always like new positions with new companies, but as a consultant, that's normal. I was used to like having to kind of like start over with new projects all the time. So that wasn't that hard, but just being reintroduced to working was pretty hard after being so ill. And pretty much what happened each time I reintroduced myself to working, especially each time I went back to working full-time in an office, it really set me back health-wise. Like, I would recover myself to a point where I felt so ready. My energy was great. This is good. This is good. What I really failed to account for was the fact that, like, yeah, my energy is pretty good for someone who's not working. Work is tiring. Even for healthy people, work is tiring and it's stressful. And I really didn't take into account how much energy was going to be sucked out of me by working in an office every day, and then how much energy was additionally going to be sucked out of me due to work stress. Okay. So like, I would experience setbacks. And the first time, actually, I left work for 3 months. The very beginning of my health journey, this is back in 2011, I left work for 3 months, went back, and it was like 2 months in, and I was so ill again that I just had to completely leave. And that time I was out of work for like almost 2 years. It was that long. That first time was almost or I guess the first time I went out of work was 3 months. The second time I was out of work later in 2011. I was out for about 2 years. And that was a really, really hard, dark time in my life. So all of that is to say, I have had to make really hard decisions around my career before. I've had to make really big, drastic jumps, both out of and then back into the workforce before. So maybe it's primed me a little bit for what I'm going through now, and kind of made it a little less stressful than it normally would be for most people. Because been there, done that. When I feel like, I don't know if I'm talking really fast. I don't feel like I've covered that much ground conversationally. I guess I feel actually opposite. I feel like I've covered a lot of ground conversationally, and yet it's only 10 minutes in when normally I look up and it's like a half hour's gone by. Um, yeah, anytime you guys want to drop questions in the chat, don't be afraid to like hog the chat. You know, there's only 2 people in here right now. That's cool. If like one or both of you wants to like hog the chat and just ask 10 questions in the next hour, that's cool. I'm here for you. I'm here for whoever shows up, and you're the ones who showed up. So if you guys have questions, I want them in there. I want to talk about them. So let me actually, while thinking about that, Anna, I did not forget about addressing your question more in detail. Let me pull that up here. So whoever else is on the chat or on the video watching, I have a Facebook group I started, and I think it actually might be in the description of this video. I think there should be a link to my Facebook group in there. Excuse me. And I mentioned the Facebook group because that's where it's a place for the community to interact with each other. And it's also a place where I get to share even more cool stuff with you guys. Writing little stories about what life was like, sharing a couple images, little quips, whatever. Like, it's just a place for us to interact more than just on Thursdays during the Q&A. And Anna messaged me there, and you know what? I don't know why this isn't coming up super fast. It's going to take me a second to find this message. So I'm speaking slowly to kill time. All right, here we go. Oh shoot, no, it wasn't a message, it was a comment. I should have definitely had this ready to go beforehand. I'm sorry, I'm disorganized today. Let's see, maybe it was this one. All right. Nope, that's not it at all. All right, well, okay, I'm not going to be able to read the question. Hi, Jamie. Howdy. I'm not going to be able to read the question verbatim, but Anna, feel free to jump in and like ask the question again or like fill in details if I missed something. So basically, Anna said that she's having a difficult time with her brother. Her brother has had some of his own health issues. They don't seem to, or she says they're not what she has. It seems like there's something less severe, but her brother feels like he's cured himself through diet. So because he cares about Anna, he feels Anna needs to do the exact same thing he did, and she'll get the exact same results he did. And I'm sure we have all dealt with a family member, a friend, someone in our lives who cares about us, who approaches our health issues similarly, to where they say, oh, I got this result by doing this thing. This person I know, all they needed to do is this thing. You just need to do this thing and you'll get better. And they seem to be very sure of themselves that they know what you need better than you do. And they start to get very adamant about it. They really start to get upset when you're not just doing exactly what they tell you you need to be doing. And it's a really hard situation to be in because you know that this person cares about you, and that's why they feel so strongly about what you should be doing, but they're also not trusting you and leaving your health decisions in your hands. They're trying to make your health decisions for you. And they're not allowing you to disagree with them or take some time to process things. So, you know, Anna was asking for some advice around that. And it's definitely a really, really hard situation. And it's the kind of thing where in a perfect world, we could say, hey, look, thank you for bringing this to my attention and for suggesting it to me. I'm going to look into it and think about it. Right now, I'm not sure if it's the right thing for me. I know it worked for you, but since we have different health issues, you know, here's what's going on. Thank you for caring about me so much. And I really appreciate you giving me time and space to figure out what I need to do for myself. And then that would make the person be like, okay, yep, great. I love you too. And, you know, hopefully, you know, best of luck on your journey, but it doesn't always go that way. So sometimes it really is just up to us to hold our boundaries and say, thank you. No, thank you. I'm doing this other thing because XYZ, or, whatever information you do or do not want to share with them. And it's really about us sometimes needing to just reiterate that we've decided something isn't the right path for us. Or maybe another way to go about this is to just ask for more space and say, hey, thank you for this. I've gotten a lot of other feedback from other people telling me I need to do different things or the opposite things or like whatever it is. Just let them know that you're taking the time and the space to figure out the right path forward, because you can't try everything. We can't try everything under the sun to get better. There isn't time for that. You can only try one thing at a time, because if you try multiple things at a time and you start getting better or getting worse, you don't know what's causing you to get better or worse. To really test things out, we need to get one thing at a time. And we don't have control over people's responses to our decisions and what we say and how we hold boundaries. Like all we're in control of is stating our truth, holding our boundaries, and not letting people pressure us into trying health treatments. That, maybe we do end up doing the thing they suggest us to, but we need to know that we're doing it on our own terms. Okay. Holding those boundaries, while it can be exhausting, is actually a fundamental component of the healing mindset. Because whenever we violate our own boundaries, we create a lot of stress on ourselves long term. It creates a lot of chronic stress and puts our bodies in a state of feeling unsafe when we violate our own boundaries. Whenever we hold those for ourselves, even if it's hard, we're actually saving ourselves energy over the long term and saving our bodies and keeping ourselves more in the parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system response. Whenever we violate our own boundaries to make other people happy, it stresses us out and actually puts us into fight or flight response more often. So, giving in to someone when you actually don't believe in what they're saying just to make them happy can actually be something that's keeping you a little more ill than you need to be. And I know that can be a hard concept to wrap your head around. But the science is there, and biologically, that's just how we function. Anytime we don't feel safe, we are put into a fight or flight nervous system response. And whenever we violate our own boundaries about what we feel is right for ourselves, it's a stressful situation, period. And the body responds to it that way. So Anna, I hope that gives you a little more motivation to hold your boundaries on this. Oh goodness. Anna, he really is crazy about this diet stuff. He even only allows your mom to buy you groceries which fit into his diet. I mean, that's extremely controlling. Like, your brother has some psychological stuff going on. If he feels the need to control other people this much, there's something going on internally that he's struggling with. And that's something he's got to figure out. That's something that's on him, but it's really unfortunate he's making this your burden to bear. There was a time in my life when I was first getting sick, and when I first started experiencing health again, or even before I ever got sick. Like, I first got into like nutrition and fitness and working out. Like, what I did worked so well for me that I kind of became like the zealot telling everybody how great CrossFit and paleo are. I'm like, oh, they're so great. Look at all these great results I'm getting. And they're, just talking about all the benefits of it and thinking everybody needed to do that. When really, like, did great things happen for me doing that? Yes. But me needing to get everybody in my life into it was really more a symptom of some internal stuff I had going on. Like, I was feeling out of control in other parts of my life. And I was feeling isolated in other parts of my life. And it was like a weak attempt, a really unhealthy attempt to get the people in my life around me and validating my own personal choices. Is it sad? Yeah, but I matured and I got over it. And life and experience has shown me that different things work for different people. And that's okay. And that's normal. And that's completely natural. That's the way nature works. Okay. We all have different things that work for us. Like for this diet thing, like the diet was enough to make your brother all better. And that's really fantastic for him. And I'm happy he found some solutions. Um, I personally don't find solutions in diet. I find a lot of stress and agony when I restrict my diet. Okay. I don't do well when I control my diet. Luckily, I don't have any severe food allergies. Luckily, I don't have anything I need to avoid. I was able to get healthy eating whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. Okay. Like, as long as I'm eating things that leave me feeling good, I'm fine. um, but there are people who like needed to go vegetarian or vegan and they feel really great on that vegetarian or vegan diet for, a decade and they thrive and they're super healthy. That doesn't work for me. I try to go vegetarian and like I am craving meat and I am exhausted and it does not go well for me. But maybe that's right for you. Like, I don't know. Like, we need to be in the space of being willing to try things out. And people like your brother need to learn how to allow people to make their own decisions and to not be super controlling because all he's doing is burdening you. Actually, Anna, the more I think about it, I don't know how close you are with your brother or how easy or hard it is to have conversations like him, but it might even be worth talking to him and just being super honest about how this is leaving you feeling. Like telling him that like his need to control your diet is stressful for you and is exhausting you even more. And if he's really like doubling down on this control thing, he'll be like, okay, well then just stop fighting me on it. Just go along with it. Tell him it's exhausting for you and stressful and makes you feel controlled when you don't have the ability to make choices for yourself. Like tell him how important it is that you need to make choices for yourself, especially choices around your health, and you need to be in control of what goes into your body. And you need to feel free to do that because feeling controlled is leaving you more exhausted. Um, and maybe that'll get through to him. Maybe it won't. Like I said, we don't have control over how people react to things, but I'd be interested to know how it feels for you to get that like truthfulness out about how this is leaving you feeling and how like exhausting this is for you and how stressful this is for you. Because even if he doesn't change, that might change something inside you about this. There have definitely been moments where I have chosen to speak up and just simply be honest about how things are leaving me feeling. And it doesn't change the other person's point of view, but something in me has grown and shifted when I have put forth the energy to claim my space, to stake my boundaries. And I think I end up respecting myself more, and it's easier to dismiss when people don't respect my boundaries after I've spoken my truth. And I'm curious as to whether that could be the same for you. Might be worth finding out. Depends on your relationship with him, but I'd be interested to know where that goes from here. There's another point I want to get to about your brother as well. I think it'll be good for other people to hear this too. It's electrolyte water. That's why it looks like this color. It has magnesium and stuff in it. It's good. So the other aspect of her brother's diet Nazism is that her brother came across the medical medium. I forget the guy's actual name, but he's like his title, the way he talks about himself is as the medical medium. And he calls himself the medical medium because he receives medical and nutritional information from spirits or from a spirit, as in a ghost or a dead person. Okay. And he goes into states and he channels this information from this being and then tells other humans about the information he got from the being. And he makes big waves because he makes some really big claims. He says things like, pretty much all modern diseases stem from Epstein-Barr virus, EBV, which I'm sure many of you have heard of because it's commonly talked about. He also started the celery juice fad that's been big this year. And the things he recommends, the general things he recommends, which is eating a lot more fruits and vegetables, are good for you. Like, no one's going to argue that more fruits and vegetables in general are going to make a person healthier, right? And a lot of the people who have followed his advice are now consuming a lot more fruits and vegetables instead of a lot of other processed crap. So, any diet that gets a person to eat more fruits and vegetables and less processed crap is a healthier diet that is going to leave people feeling better, right? I don't care if you're paleo or vegetarian or keto or doing the medical mediums diet or whose diet you're doing. If you start adding in a ton of fruits and vegetables into your diet, you will feel better because it's what our bodies want. It has all the nutrients and all the good stuff that we need. So, like, yeah, we feel good. The problem is, like, people tend to not stick to it because they don't those results don't maintain. You don't maintain that level of feeling so great once you fall into the everyday cycle of things. And what happens for most people is that any of these diets that are restrictive, like the medical mediums diet, like paleo, like keto, literally any diet that's restrictive, even restrictive in portion sizes or what you can and can't eat, it's not sustainable because the food rules, actually become exhausting to follow for nearly everybody. It takes a ton of energy to really stick to these things. And it starts to mess with our psychology. There is a lot about the psychology of food restriction and food rules that is known, but our society completely ignores because we've believed that diets are the only way to achieve health and have a healthy weight. Okay. And that's just not true. The psychology of food restriction gets people to start obsessing about their food. It gets people to start thinking about their food all day, every day. That's a ton of energy wasted on thinking about and planning for meals. Like, it gets really tiring. It also leads people into like a starvation and sort of survival mode, psychologically, where having your food intake restricted all of the time sends a message to our lizard brain that food is scarce, okay, and that there's not going to be a lot of it, and that we can't have a lot of good things. And when our lizard brain believes that food is scarce and we're always stressed and thinking about food all the time, it tells us to start eating more. Our lizard brains will literally drive us to binge eat if we restrict our food too much, because it feels like we're going into like a lean time. It feels like we're going into winter, and all of a sudden we have this massive drive to just acquire as many calories as possible for survival. Like, dieting creates a survival environment for our lizard brain, and it responds in kind with creating massive food urges and binge urges. Okay. All right. So just a little side thing about how destructive diet mentality can be for everybody on any diet. There are ways to diet in a healthy way, but you really, really need to have the right mindset approach to that, an approach of abundance as opposed to restriction, saying, I can eat anything I want, and getting in tune with your body and discovering what those things are that you want and the things that you don't, you know? And if you want to eat things that make you feel like shit, you've got some more psychology stuff to work on because no baby comes out of the womb wanting to like eat things that make it feel bad or wanting to do things to itself that make it feel bad. Those are psychological coping mechanisms that need to be dealt with. All right. Biggs, I could go on for hours about diet and food and psychology and how unnecessary restriction is actually harmful to us. And when we're as ill as you guys are still feeling, unnecessary food restriction ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got extra energy for that. So let's see. Anna, she loves how I describe Anthony Williams. She does not like him. Yeah, fruits and veggies always good. What you don't like about it is everything that's forbidden, the restriction aspect of it. Absolutely. You tried it for 2 days and you stopped because it felt wrong to you. And yeah, your brother is obsessed with food. He has a very unhealthy relationship to it. All that, see, oh, this is something else that comes out of diet psychology is you start to like see some results from your diet, and you start to feel like control is the only way to see results. You start to believe that the only way to lose weight and to feel better and to be healthy, whatever your idea of healthy is through severe control of your diet. And this totally encourages that mindset. Um, and you can see the results that's having on your brother. He's becoming obsessive. He's spending so much time and energy on food, but doesn't even have the time or energy to realize how much time and energy he's spending on food instead of other things that actually matter in life. I shouldn't say that. Other things that matter, other things that are also important in life. And he's feeling this massive need to control you and your mother. I mean, it's just this need for control is consuming his life, and it's not sustainable for anybody. Nobody gets healthy that way. No one I know has gotten over these symptoms by exerting more control over their lives. Quite the opposite. People get better when they learn how to surrender to feeling good, to feeling calm, and to taking accountability for their health. Yeah, Jamie totally agrees. It is a nasty loop. When you consume the forbidden food, you think it'll cause a crash, and then you get fear and anxiety, making you feel worse, and that reinforces that belief. Absolutely, it's a downward spiral. And then you forbid and restrict even more. And yeah, it gets really, really ugly. I mean, this is how eating disorders start. So many eating disorders are a direct result of our diet culture. Like, eating disorders don't come out of thin air. They come out of this belief that control of your food is the only way to even be at like a passable level of acceptance. You know, there's so many women and some men who just tie all of their self-worth to how they look, and they believe that the only way to look a certain way is through absolute control. And when we fail at that control, we feel worthless. We feel like we're lazy, like we're just not trying hard enough. We're told that we're doing it wrong, and we're told that we're the problem when diets and restriction and control fail us. When we're not the problem, our brain's natural, healthy response to restriction is to consume in excess. It's shocking that fact, that scientifically established fact, is not more widely accepted, and it's a tragedy, and it's causing a lot of people a lot of grief. So, you know, Anna, I mean, it's a really hard situation you're in with your brother, because he's overstepping his boundaries and trying to exert a lot of control over you, and it's leaving you stressed and miserable. And it's not fair, and it's his baggage adding a burden to you. And I wish that wasn't so. I really do. Anna, yes, eating pizza and sweets to prove to yourself that it will not make you sick, and you still felt good. It still felt good. You were fine, you know, like clearly you don't have a celiac allergy, so that was okay for you to do. It's okay to have a little bit of sugar. All of this stuff is okay, you know, as long as you know that like if you eat that stuff in large quantities every day, you're not going to feel good. You know, that's how you know what to eat and what not to eat, is by what your own body tells you. Don't trust all this other information. Like we can look externally for information about ideas on what to try, but we cannot believe in these external food rules more than we believe in our own bodies' messages and responses to things. Our bodies need to be the ultimate, like, why can't I think of a good word? I feel like my words are not coming to me today. Our body needs to be the ultimate authority on what the best diet is for us, period. So I love that you did that. Anna, you have so much of this healing mindset already. I know it's frustrating to not be exactly where you want to be yet. It still takes time, but you have so much going for you. It really is just a matter of time before you find everything you need. I wish I could hug you. Jamie, our bodies are so well adapted to taking nutrition from a wide variety of foods. We're omnivores. That's what we're designed for. We're designed to be eating plants as well as meats. You know, it's completely natural for humans to be eating meat. It's how humans got through the first 90,000 years of human existence on this planet. So we're very well adapted for it, and we became very well adapted to farmed agriculture as well, farmed grains and fruits and vegetables and things like that. Grains are actually what we had to adapt to eating, because before that it was much more natural for us to eat everything that wasn't a grain, meats and like potatoes and fruits and vegetables. Um, that's a whole other topic I could talk about for an hour. Foods and grains and what's healthy for us and what's not. I mean, I do, just real quick, I guess. So I do eat grains. But when I'm at home, I only eat like old school, unbromated, fermented grains. Like those are the things that I buy if I'm going to eat grains. When I say old school, I mean like traditional strains of wheat, not modern strains of wheat that are bred for shelf life. I'm talking about old school strains of wheat that still have a lot of nutrients in them, or old grains like amaranth or like whole grain rye. I stick to grains like that, and I like to buy grains that have where the dough has been fermented before it's been baked, because it's been shown that the fermentation process actually breaks down gluten in bread. So the breads that our ancestors ate had very little gluten in them because they were fermenting all of their dough. All right. It's only in modern industrial times that we stopped fermenting all of our flour before baking it. Because of time. Time is money, and money is time. And all of a sudden, now that we stopped fermenting our dough, people are having celiac issues in massive numbers when it wasn't a thing before, because we were properly processing our grains. All right, I'll get off that soapbox. Yeah, Iceland ate nothing but meat for ages. Look at the Eskimos in Northern America. They lived on very little. They just literally lived on animals, especially in the winter. They had nothing to eat but like whale meat and whale blubber. And they thrived, like health-wise, they thrived for a very, very long time. The Vikings in Iceland thrived on that for a very, very long time because it is a healthy diet. As long as you're eating like animals in their natural environment, as opposed to animals that are in factory farms like today. Factory farmed animals are not very healthy to eat. I didn't really want to turn this into a whole big nutrition rant, but maybe it is going. Maybe it's just going that way today. I don't know. Let's see. Other questions, guys. Anna, was there any other aspect of the thing with your brother that you wanted me to address? I'm open to that. I guess there was one other point I wanted to make about Anna's brother. I made it in the Facebook group, but I wanted to make it here again today. And it is that, Anna's brother chooses to take health advice from a man who talks to spiritual beings. That's not good enough for me. I insist on getting health and nutrition advice from people who have helped hundreds or thousands of others, and who have helped them not only feel better in the short term, but who have helped keep people better in the long term. That's who I want to listen to and work with. That's my standard for myself. To each their own. What her brother found works for her, works for him. Although, I don't know, when it requires, or when how do I want to say this? When something you do helps your health, but it harms your psychology, I'm not sure as a whole being, have you really gotten healthier? I don't think we take emotional health and mental health into account enough when talking about whole body health. Like, you can make yourself physically a little healthier, but if it's at the cost of like mental and emotional health, yeah, I don't know how that math works, but I wonder. quiet today. Not a lot of questions today. Normally, like 40 minutes in, we've had a few questions going. Let me think. All right, I can always talk about stuff. Let's see. All right, Anna, good for you. You're not going to have any more discussions with him about food. It's pointless. It sounds like it, really unfortunate. And he's probably not going to let it drop. I mean, from what you've told me, I wouldn't be surprised if he continues to try to pressure you. But like, you know what your boundaries are. You know how you're going to make decisions for your own health, and you don't get to decide if he respects that or not. But you get to decide how you respond to it. All right. I am falling short on words today. I usually, if I have there's like a down moment and I want to just think of something to talk about, normally it just like whoop comes to me and off I go. Oh, happy to not live with him because he really forces your patients to his diet. Oh, forces your parents to his diet, it sounds like. And it makes me wonder why your parents are even giving into that. I mean, oh my goodness. Maybe they're trying to be supportive. Who knows? There's a lot of reasons they could be doing that. But I can understand how hard it would be to watch that happening. Yeah. Jamie, question. Do you have a question? Just type away. I'm here. We're all here. Some of us are here. So here in the US, we've been getting ready for Christmas. And I've been doing a little bit of decorating, which has been really fun. Like right behind me, there's this really cute little like Christmassy decoration. You can't really see it. It's too bright out right now, but it has this cool strand of lights on it that I put on there. It's got lots of greenery, little berries, pine cones, right? Super cute. And then there's also our little mini Christmas tree we have going this year. Just a little tiny potted thing since we live in an apartment. There's not really space for a big tree, and some buildings don't even allow big trees. So we have to have a little one in a pot, but it's got some ornaments and it's got lights on it that we turn on at night, and it makes me feel really happy. Let's see. All right, Jamie, question. You're at the point of your recovery where you're looking to start introducing more exercise. That's great. You feel fine when you're not exercising, but you do when you get some symptoms. Very normal. Do you wait until symptoms were gone, or did I slowly increase my capability? So each time I healed, I approached exercise a little bit differently. The first time I healed, I definitely added exercise back in too quickly. I definitely went with an all or nothing approach. It was either like, I'm not doing anything, or I'm going to the gym every week or something, I really didn't give myself that gradual introduction. And I learned that gradual introduction is really, really important. And the way I did that is for a long time, especially on the third time I was recovering, I said to myself, I don't care how good I'm feeling, I am not allowing myself to do more than walk for so many months, 2 or 3 months. Even though I feel like I can do more, I'm not going to. If I feel like I have energy to be more active, I'm going to walk longer, right? So I would start off doing 10 or 15-minute walks. And then I would work up to walking for an hour at a time. Some days I would walk for an hour in the morning and then also an hour in the evening, right? And the really cool part about this was what I discovered is that I felt good before I started walking. I felt good while I was on a walk. And because I wasn't burning out my energy, I felt really good after the walk too. All right. And this is after I really started honing that healing mindset and learning the importance of feeling good. We need to be feeling good, just in our mood, our mind. Even if we have physical symptoms that are bothering us, we can still feel good mentally and emotionally. And that's actually necessary to get into that parasympathetic and stay in that parasympathetic nervous system response. So, through the healing mindset, I learned to appreciate feeling good more than how hard I was working out. Like I used to identify with how hard I could work out and how much weight I could lift and what I was doing. And instead I learned to focus on moving my body to feel good. And after I could walk for like 2 hours a day and feel really good and I felt like I was gaining some of my health back, that's when I'd add in like 5 squats at home. I would just do 5 air squats and see how I felt. And I think the first couple of times I did them, it was pretty scary. It was like, whoa, my muscles are working in a way they haven't worked in a long time. Like my body feels overburdened. Like what's happening? And like it was literally that slow. Like, okay, 5 air squats. Okay, 25 air squats. Okay, maybe a couple push-ups or something. Just doing little things at home for a couple minutes instead of trying to like go to the gym and get like a 30-minute workout. It was like, let me do like 90 seconds of like air squats here in the day. And I'm feeling good a little bit later. So like, let me do a couple push-ups and then let me go for my walk and just try to make it about incorporating things that feel good throughout my day instead of going and pushing myself to the point of feeling tired, you know? Um, that's also part of the pacing methodology to like chunk up what you're doing into smaller pieces. It's more sustainable that way. And if we do start to feel exhausted, it's very easy to pull ourselves in, pull ourselves back, and correct that exhaustion before it gets too far. Not doing like a half-hour workout at the gym and instead just committing to like 10 push-ups now. Um, Also helps set our expectations in the right place. Like, I know for me personally, if I would have a half hour like workout at the gym planned, I would tell myself like, okay, it's just a half hour. I'm just going to push through it and see what happens, right? And I would push myself into a crash. But when all I'm doing is like, okay, just 10 air squats, even if I push myself to just finish 10 air squats, that exhaustion at the end of that is a lot less than it is after me pushing myself for half an hour. So learning to pace and truly value feeling good and value feeling like you have energy before, during, and after any sort of activity, I think is going to help you a lot more than the old mindset of like going to the gym for a workout. So to more directly answer your question, like I definitely did the slowly increase my capabilities approach because that worked for me physically and it also worked for me mentally. All right, Anna, you wanted to tell me that today you got a red light lamp from Amazon. You tried it for 30 minutes and the heat was okay. Good. I'm glad the heat didn't exhaust you. It's a big lamp. It has more power. So you're starting with 30 minutes. Yeah, that sounds great. What part of your body are you putting it on? I'm curious. Being careful with exercise is so important. Yes, it is. Anna, in September, she felt good. Oh, you didn't know that you had CFS back then. And you pushed yourself to do sports 2 times in a week and you crashed so bad. I know we cannot think of like workouts and fitness like we used to because that pushes us into relapses and crashes and makes things harder for ourselves. We need to really redefine what it means to be an active person and how to get activity and exercise into our day. Yes, Jamie, kick out the all or nothing voices. It's not all or nothing. Like this is about you reaching a huge milestone. Like you're even considering adding back in exercise. Like that is a fantastic place to be in. I know it has been a long road to get where you are, right? And the healthy habits that got you here today, Jamie, are the habits that are going to keep you progressing. As much as we think we're going to go back to normal, there's a lot of things about recovery that we need to keep in our lives even after we feel better, to keep feeling better, to stay that way. Oh, and I think we all have that moment where we said, "Oh man, if only I had known. I wished I hadn't pushed myself that day. I wish I hadn't pushed myself that hard. I wouldn't be as sick as I am." I hear that all the time. "Oh, I wish I hadn't pushed myself back then. I wish I had known because that made me so bad. Made me crash so hard, made my symptoms get worse. I've never gotten better since then." I think we all go through it. Mm. Jamie, yeah, you never, ever, ever thought you'd be where you are. And sometimes you need to pinch yourself. It's incredible, isn't it? Like, yeah. Oh, you know you're going to fully recover. I want to cry. I'm so happy for you. You're not scared of it anymore. Jamie, this is the point you've been working towards. It really, really is. And there's no words for how beautiful it is to be here, to have that confidence. Again, to know that you have the tools to heal and get better, to know that you have the tools to take it from here, even if there's hiccups and bumps in the road, like you've gotten over worse, so you'll get through it again. Hmm. Hi, Svea. I'm probably not saying that right. You can correct me if I'm saying it wrong, Svea. Your summer is often so good, and every summer you think you're healing, but then every winter it's bad again. I didn't experience anything that specific with the seasons, although the way you describe that makes me wonder, like, what else is going on in your life? Are you a student? Are you going to school in the winter and not in the summer? Like, what else about your summers and winters is different in your life? Because maybe there's something other than just the seasons. One thing that comes to mind for you, Svea, have you had your vitamin D levels tested? I'm going to assume that you have. Vitamin D levels are something that are becoming pretty common for doctors to test, especially when people go in talking about fatigue like that. Um, but if but if you haven't had your vitamin D levels tested, that's worth getting checked out because people tend to have like adequate vitamin D levels in the summer when they have sun exposure. Excuse me. And then in the wintertime, we don't have sun exposure. Our vitamin D levels can drop to unhealthy levels. Um, I have a lot of things I could guess about in terms of what's going on for you summer versus winter, but I would first really want to hear more, Svea, about what else in your life is different between summer and winter. What people are you around? What are you doing? What are your activities? Where is your life happening? Anything and everything that's a little bit different. Even emotionally, what's going on for you summer versus winter. Because that definitely has an impact on the way our symptoms express themselves. So Svea, anytime you want to weigh in on that stuff, I'm happy to talk about it more. Anna, the lamp covers your belly and the tops of your legs. Okay, cool. One thing you can do that I found useful is like every few days I would move where the lamp is on my body to give different cells, different mitochondria exposure to the red light to help produce more ATP. So like, move it onto your chest. You can move it on your back or the backs of your legs or like your face. I like doing it on my face because the mitochondria boost, the ATP boost to the mitochondria from red light therapy and the heat is actually also really good for collagen production. So it's good at keeping your skin looking youthful. And when you're, oh my God, almost 35 like me, collagen production is something I think about. Let's see. Hi, Butch. Hi, Butch. Do I think CFS is a part of TMS? I'm not sure what TMS is. Let me do a quick Google search if I can see what you're talking about. Hmm. I'm finding TMS all over, but I'm not seeing what I think you are talking about. I see a treatment called TMS, but I don't think that's what you're referring to. Oh, here we go. To learn more about TMS and to help you figure out if you have it, visit our Intro to TMS page. Tension myositis syndrome. All right, so but I would have to do some reading before I could answer your question. I have not heard of tension myositis syndrome before. I mean, it sounds like, it sounds similar to like severe chronic fatigue because it's something that you have a lot of symptoms for. Doctors never find anything wrong with you. They can't help you. There's no diagnostic test for it. And it says here TMS is caused by psychological stress. Yeah, a lot of ME/CFS is definitely influenced by psychological stress. But, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head if I think that's a part of the same thing. I'd have to do a lot more research. Okay, Svea, you're at home all the time, so nothing special in the winters. Maybe the D vitamin is low. Yeah, if that's something that a doctor really hasn't tested in you yet, that's a really basic test for them to run, and it's a good place to start. Even if the vitamin D isn't all that's wrong with you, even if there are other things that you need to help heal, getting your vitamin D levels in check is like a baseline thing, a foundational health thing that you can do that will make anything you do after that more effective. So would highly, highly recommend just getting that tested so you know where your vitamin D levels are at in the winter. Start with the basics. Let's see. All right, cool. So Jamie's familiar with TMS, it looks like. Dr. John Sarno. Yeah, see, like I never really followed a lot of these, what these guys were doing or saying because I never felt like their approaches were going to work for me because they seem to have very cut and dry, linear, one size fits all approaches that didn't work for me. So I'll have to look. Oh, let's see. TMS app, John Sarno, curablehealth.com. Oh, it seems like he really coaches people who have pain, a lot of pain. I'm very fortunate in that I never had like systemic pain as a symptom or an issue for me. And Jamie feels like CFS certainly is, in a lot of cases, TMS. That's interesting. And see, Svea, you're more active in the summer naturally because you can, right? Because you're feeling better about things. All right, just a random question, Svea. How well do you tolerate changes in temperature? So, like, if it's really hot outside, does that impact how you feel? Is it hard to be too hot? Like, does your body just naturally start to sweat and, like, you're just a little hot, but you're fine? Or is there more of a like exhausting feeling that comes with being hot? And the same with being cold. How does your body respond to being cold? Like, if you're cold, you just like shiver and make more energy and like, it's a little uncomfortable to be cold, but like you're okay. Or does your body respond more by being extremely exhausted by being too cold? Is it hard for your body to regulate your temperature when you're too hot or you're too cold, or is it very easy for your body to do that? It's a question I have for Svea. Hi, Nika. I look so young with this hairdo. Well, I mean, I guess thank you. I mean, I don't know. Just up in a little bun. All right, Jamie's filling me in here. TMS is a theory by Dr. John Sarno where the human brain causes symptoms as a defense to threatening emotions. And after years, it becomes a conditioned response, which must be unlearned. TMS is commonly associated with back pain, but he did quote that he thinks CFS is caused by TMS. All right, this is getting really interesting because there's another physician who I have come across, and I love the way he talks about the way he talks about stress on the body and stress's influence on chronic illness of all types. And his name is Dr. Gabor Mate. Mate? As you guys are learning, I'm not great at pronouncing names that are not like American English, unfortunately. So you can educate me on how to say things correctly. I'm going to pull a link here from Dr. Mate. Copy link address, and I'll just post it in here for you guys, for like you, Jamie, and Butch. Dr. Gabor Mate talks about the same thing. Yeah, Nika knows about it when the body says no. I'm currently reading that book right now. It's such a good book. And he has been exploring this stress illness connection, and he definitely has been talking about the causes of illness being really two things. One is illness being a consequence of emotional repression. Whenever we don't allow ourselves to feel our emotions, whenever we don't allow ourselves to know our emotions, whenever we just stuff them down and make them not exist, that tension still exists and lives in our body and produces illness. And the other way he talks about it is in addition to the emotional repression, is the chronic stress that we're under. Our lives constantly leaving us feeling unsafe, constantly leaving our bodies in that fight or flight response. Okay, our bodies never get into the rest and digest healing modalities we need, not just to heal from severe illness, but to prevent ourselves from becoming severely ill in the first place. We need to be in that parasympathetic rest and digest nervous system response. Okay, that's where the daily maintenance, the body's daily maintenance happens. And when we don't spend any time in rest and digest mode, our bodies don't really have any maintenance time, and it makes us much more susceptible to illness and disease. So that's what Gabor Mate is talking about. And he has, I think, some really smart things to say about that. And I think what's more magical about Dr. Gabor Mate is not just his message, but he very much takes a storytelling approach to conveying his message, which I think makes his work very accessible to more people. Jamie, pain and fatigue are there to protect us after all. You know what? That is such a simple way to say all of this. Pain and fatigue are there to protect us after all. Whenever we feel pain, it's our body telling us that something is happening to it that needs to stop. Like we're burning our finger, or, we've just cut ourselves on something. Like if our skin is exposed to the air, before we developed antibiotics and things, it was actually, it could be a very serious event to have your skin cut open and to get an infection inside your skin and your body, because that could make you lose a limb or lose your life back in the day. So like pain tells us what we need to stop doing. And same thing with fatigue. Like when we get tired, it's our body's signal that, hey, you've done a lot of work. Now it's time to chill out and rest and sleep and do all those other good things that we need to do for ourselves. And modern society teaches us to ignore pain. Just take a pill, just get over it. And it teaches us to ignore fatigue. Just go drink more coffee. Just keep going. Let's all brag about how little sleep we got. And it's not good for anybody. So, Jamie, I love that. It's everything encapsulated in one simple sentence. Pain and fatigue are there to protect us. Period. All right, Svea, you are very sensitive to temperature changes. But it's strange because when it's cold, you're boiling inside and have to sleep with windows open, so the snow's coming in. And when it's hot, you're too hot as well. That's different. I've never quite heard someone talk about their heat intolerance is that way, where they're always too hot, is what I'm hearing. Jamie. Yeah, exactly. People at work. All right. So Svea, it really sounds like there's something wrong with I want to say the HPA axis inside your body. Your temperature regulation is off, clearly. Your energy regulation is off, clearly. Have you seen any doctors about this? Have you gone for help anywhere yet? And have you told them specifically about the difficulty with your body regulating its own temperature. Because that's something that I think a lot of doctors do tend to listen to when they just say people are too tired. They dismiss that very quickly and easily. I would still ask for a vitamin D test. But then if you talk to them about the temperature dysregulation, yeah, I'd be very curious about how a doctor would respond to that, because that points to bigger issues that they know what to do about. I'm sorry if you can hear the voice in the background. My boyfriend usually works at the office on Thursdays, which is one reason I do these on Thursdays, because he's usually not here, but he's here today. And I know in the past people have talked about being able to hear him because he's a really loud voice. The door's shut in there and everything, and his voice still just comes through. So I apologize. All right, Svea. Oh, Svea, I'm so sorry to hear that. 9 years in, you've taken every test and you've seen like 30 doctors. It's such a common tragic story that you haven't found someone who listens to you and believes you and knows what blood work to take and knows how to help you. You've told them about the temperature dysregulation, your body's inability to properly manage your temperature? The hair on my screen. Gosh. And also, Svea, I'm wondering what country you're in, because that obviously influences like what medical options you have, and how accessible they are to you. Have you just worked with doctors and hospital systems, or have you worked with practitioners who are outside of like the standard hospital setting? Have you worked with doctors who have their own practice? Have you worked with people who specialize in chronic illness and severe fatigue? Or have you just gone to doctors who are like specialists in terms of an endocrinologist and a rheumatologist and like the standard specialists? Or have you gone to see someone who works outside the standard medical establishment? Because it might be time for that. Yeah, 9 years and 30 doctors in. Oh God, my heart just goes out to you, Svea. So much. It's so hard. So hard. So we are over time. We're almost an hour and 10 minutes in. I am here if you guys have more questions, or if you have more comments, or Svea, you want to feed me any more info, I'm happy to keep talking. But if the questions and comments dry up, then I will be hopping off here in a minute. I do want to mention again, I've started a Facebook group where we can all connect more often. It's a place where you guys connect with each other. I leave a little bit more extra like content in there for you guys to read through and think about. I'm hoping to get more conversations started in there. So if you guys are interested in this type of interaction more often than just every Thursday, if you want to get this kind of thing going a few times a week, I strongly encourage that you join the Facebook group. I will pop the link in the chat here, but it should also be on the description of this video. It is a private group. Nobody's going to know that you've joined this group unless you tell them. Nothing will ever be shared outside of the group. If you share it inside there, it's completely confidential. It is a safe space. And, when you have questions, you can pop them in there. Sometimes I'll answer the question right there in the group. Or you can send me a private message through the group if you don't want other people to see it. And then other times, some noise in the hallway. And then other times, like maybe you can ask a question and I'll be like, hey, do you mind if I address this in the next live Q&A as well, so that I can share my answer with other people? And even if you want me to keep it anonymous, of course I would. It's all up to you. Let's see. All right. So I plugged the Facebook group. Oh, actually, shoot. Did I put in? Might have put in the wrong link. I'm going to say, oh, I think I put in the wrong link. I did put in the wrong link. Can I delete that? Let me delete that right now. Remove. Okay. Join the Facebook group. Right link this time. In order to have a Facebook group, I have to have a Facebook page. And I named them very similarly because I just wanted to keep things simple for myself. But it actually turns out to be more confusing because sometimes I'm on the page when I think I'm in the group and vice versa. I just need to figure out how to organize it. All right, Svea, you're in Sweden. That's really funny. My boyfriend loves being in Sweden. It's one of his favorite countries to travel to. And he's actually been on a Swedish meatball kick lately where he loves to make his own Swedish meatballs. And they're delicious. Like he makes like the big, like Swedish style meatballs. He puts ground beef and pork in them. There's butter and heavy cream and breadcrumbs in them. And he puts like parsley on them and he makes his own homemade gravy and he makes his own homemade mashed potatoes. And we get this big plate of mashed potatoes and gravy and meatballs. And like, it's mostly what we've been eating for the past 2 weeks. They're so good. All right, you've been to all the doctors inside the system and outside, but you feel better with a better diet, only vegetables and fruits. The heat has gone down a bit and you were on a short walk. Super interesting. You mentioned the heat issue, but not isolated like an only issue because it's not the only issue. Absolutely. You have a lot of meatballs now for Christmas. You have no idea. I mean, we made, let's see, 2 weeks ago, we used 3 pounds of meat. We used 2 pounds of beef and 1 pound of pork to make a batch of meatballs. And then just last Sunday, this past Sunday, maybe it was even this past Saturday, my boyfriend used 6 pounds of meat to make meatballs for 2 people. 4 pounds of beef and 2 pounds of pork. So much cream, so much butter, eggs. Oh my God, there's like 6 eggs in each batch. It's crazy. They're so good, but they're so heavy. All right. Okay. Only vegetables and fruits. So like you're like vegan. So Svea, you're vegan. Is that what you're saying? Like it sounds like you don't even eat grains. They're really good. They're so good. Oh, we even find lingonberry jam. We can't get like fresh lingonberries in the US. We can get lingonberry jam though. We had the lingonberry jam on the side. I couldn't forget that. Oh, do I have a good picture? I don't have my phone near me. I was gonna get a picture of his meatballs. All right. So, all right, Svea, this would take. You're on the medical medium diet. Okay, were you here earlier when we were talking about that? So this goes back to like Anna, who's in the chat, was talking earlier about her brother finding the medical medium diet and it helps him feel better. But he's being super controlling about it and kind of forcing the diet on, or trying to force the diet on Anna. And it's causing a lot of stress and extra fatigue and it's an extra burden on her that he's not allowing her a choice in her own diet and how she approaches her own health. And, I've seen a lot of people say that the medical medium diet works for them very short term, like right off the bat, it helps a lot. I don't know anybody who's followed the medical medium diet long term and still feels better. So, this would be a much bigger conversation. This is the kind of conversation, Svea, where I'd almost need to get on like a coaching call with you to really understand your whole history. Because if you've been going through this for 9 years and you've seen 30 doctors, and I'm sure you've tried 100 different things to get better, before I would feel comfortable going down this path with you, like I would need to just sit and understand all of this. And if you are open to talking about this more, I don't know, maybe we can arrange something, but I'll let you reach out to me and tell me if you are interested in that. Good ways to reach out to me are to comment on YouTube here or to join the Facebook group that I linked to. You can either post publicly in the group or you could message me privately if you wanted to talk more about this stuff. Yeah, maybe you'll want to like after this video is done, it'll process on YouTube. Takes like maybe 10 or 15 minutes to process on YouTube. And then it's available to watch again if you want to go back earlier and see about that. We didn't talk about the diet specifics a whole ton, but there was a lot of talk about diet earlier and how it's different for everybody. There is no one diet that works for everybody. It's on each of us to experiment and find what works for us. My biggest criticism of the medical medium is that all of his medical advice and all of the nutrition advice he puts in that book came to him through a spirit. On my own healing journey, like I've recovered from severe chronic fatigue on 3 occasions now, and I figured out how to beat relapses and not relapse anymore. So I've learned a lot about healing. For me, that's not good enough. It's not good enough for me to have someone say that, like, that they're talking to dead people about health and nutrition stuff. It's just not. I choose to listen to and follow and work with people who have helped hundreds or thousands of others like me not only feel better in the short term, but also sustain their health over the long term. And that is what's worked for me. Other people, though, like Anna's brother, try that diet and it gets rid of everything that's wrong with them. So, like, if that is what works for you, I am going to support you on that. I'm telling you in advance, though, why I don't say everyone should do that. And it's the same reason I'm going to say, or there's the same reason I'm never going to say everyone should do any particular diet. All right. Oh, Svea, I love to hear that. You're tweaking the diet so that it feels good for you. That is the right approach. Like if you want to take some guidelines, see how they make you feel. Use your body as the ultimate judge for what feels good and right. And if you need to add things in or take things out, that's up to you. That's a beautiful approach. And I completely support you in approaching it that way. I mean, that's a really great mindset to use when working on your diet for your health. Do what feels good. It's always about what feels good and right. Love it. All right. We've been on for over an hour 15. It's a very long one. I'm going to head out. You guys, we're going to do this again next week at the same time, Thursday, December 19th at 1 p.m. Eastern time. You can actually go onto my YouTube channel and subscribe for reminders about upcoming live streams if you want to. If you just go to my channel page, you'll see the upcoming ones that I've scheduled already. You can just like hit like a remind me or something or set reminder button, and it'll do all the conversions into your time zone for you. Isn't that handy dandy, right? Yes, everyone is different. And that is what I preach on this channel, is that we are all different. We all have our own healing journeys, and it's up to us to discover what we need with the help of the right practitioners and the right people in our lives. Whew. All right, this is a good one, guys. I really enjoyed getting to geek out on nutrition a little bit today. It's definitely another passion of mine. So join the Facebook group if you want to interact with me and interact with these other lovely people more often than just once a week. Go get reminders on the upcoming live streams. And 3, next week's live stream is a little extra special because it's on my birthday. My birthday present to you guys is another live stream. I'll be turning 35, if you can believe it. I cannot. So happy healing, everyone. Love that, Jamie. It's a beautiful little wish to all of us during the holiday season. As always, sending you love and health. I love you guys so much. Wish I could give you all big hugs right now. Take care of yourselves. Bye.